Last time on CiP.
Cosmic gag reel.
Or you could be really nefarious and go after the orphanages.
Better to reign in hell than serve in heaven, is that it?
No, we're going to, turn her and make her one of us.
In the story.
Part of the reason for that, and we're live. Part of the reason for that is I like a lot of stuff that goes on pizza right now is pork, and pork is kind of a hard thing for pizza, for the pizza situation, or for me, I don't eat pork. So, so you got that takes out pepperoni, that takes out sausage, that takes out,
but there's vegetables. You can have mushrooms or peppers or, people eat all kinds of stuff on the pizza. It's not just the meat byproduct.
True.
Look, man,
true.
I'll be honest with you. I haven't eaten dinner yet, so I'm hungry. So this conversation was going to happen. It was going to happen.
Yeah, it was going to happen. We went straight for the pizzas. It's been a long time since I've had a really good pizza. We're going when I come back to the East Coast for holidays. We're going. That's the first thing we're doing. I'm gonna grab you out of your wife's home and throw you into Fabio's. Oh God! Oh, I miss Fabio.
No, that sounds horrible. What I mean is, there's a restaurant called Fabio's. I'm going to throw you into the restaurant, not to a man that make you leave your wife. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show.
Yes. So, hello everyone. Hi.
Hello.
Today, so if you've noticed the title of the stream, it is the Stream of Follies. So yeah, we weren't quite sure what we were going to do because Ari unfortunately couldn't join us. If you're wondering why there's still art being done on the side there, it's because the magic of recording. I'm replaying some art that she did on a couple episodes back. So enjoy that while we talk. So she couldn't join us, so we weren't sure what we were going to do. We were trying some different ideas. We were toying with different things. And then just everything we tried, just shit wasn't working. And then, Ethan had somebody randomly shut his power off for some reason. And so we just took that as a sign.
He was trying to use the microwave, and it turned power off in just my corner of the computer. So I was like, what is going on? It went up in his room and then in my computer briefly. So it's yes. And by the way, here's a little fun thing for you. Those Easter egg got you. A couple weeks ago, Edward Furlong moved in right above me. And for those of you who don't know, Edward Furlong played John Connor in the 1992 Terminator film. And he's also in American History X.
Yes.
So he. I saw him today because he's parking his car next to mine.
Okay. So are you saying that Edward Furlong shut off your computer?
What I'm not saying is that's not possible. What I am saying is, if the Terminators were trying to get to him still, and we have to use every means we can. Let's use power sources. Let's send time travelers back to things. If there's all kinds of a dozen reasons now as to why the power could go off in my room or my computer, and I blame it all on him.
Okay.
The chosen one apparently didn't stop Skynet. He had one job to do. One job. Wow. He didn't do it. So
that's crazy. That's crazy that he moved in. So that's cool. That's cool. I think I'd probably be fine. Like I say that like I would probably be like one of those like nerds that would like every time he'd walk by, I'd be like, "Hi, how are you?"
Right.
And
he's a very chill guy. I think he's also like most people probably don't know what I look like now or don't know me. Oh, he's very chill. Just more power to him. He's a very decent guy.
Hey, well, that's good to hear. That's good to hear because you always hear rough stories about the kid, the youngins in Hollywood, and they have some, except for like some rare ones like Dana Radcliffe, and then you've got Will Wheaton, who he could have gone a bad way because he didn't have the support structure that like Dana Radcliffe had, but he went a good way in spite of that, which I think those kind of stories are really nice.
Yes. However, he has anxiety stuff he had to deal with.
Well, yeah,
on his own way. And then Daniel Radcliffe he was still like, was it the fourth film or the fifth film where he was like he says he can't remember filming half it because he was drunk most of the time.
Yeah, because he was drunk.
So,
yeah.
but he was still fine. Didn't have to go to all kinds of craziness.
Yeah.
This is a very dark topic. I apologize. I apologize for us bringing this down. We had a very dark week in the past. This is meant to be a good week. And
yes. Yes. Well, I think it's just because we've had just so many weeks, about 4 years of them, of weeks of just being like, oh, sweet Jesus. Like, I really liked the phrase that it's probably been out there forever. And since I'm just an old man, I didn't know the whole idea of doom scrolling, like which is what because I was all over the internet last week. It's like, oh, what are you doing? I'm doom scrolling. And then with the opposite of that, I think the guy from the Oatmeal said it was like glee spreeing or something like that is the opposite of doom scrolling. I don't.
Okay.
I have to look that up.
I hadn't heard the second one. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, it's patented. It's patented. Otherwise, I take it for myself. But okay.
Yes. But yeah. So we had kind of a crazy evening. So we decided we still wanted to get something out there. We still wanted to put out something onto the streams and get stuff out to you guys. But it's not going to be very long. We're just going to sit here and chat like doofuses for a little bit, and then we're going to go on our merry little way. And by that I mean sleep. Going to sleep. Ethan's going to eat and then sleep.
Thank you.
But I'm going straight to sleep. Anyway.
And for those of you who are wondering, yes, I can do both. I can eat in my sleep.
Wow, that's impressive. I would choke a lot. But yeah, I'm a choker. Anyway, so
yeah.
Oh, geez.
You make it too easy. You make it too easy, man.
I do. So I got something fun to tell you, and I heard this on another podcast, and I looked it up, and I confirmed that it actually was a thing. Now you may know this, and so please forgive me in my ignorance, but it was a bit of trivia from Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Ooh. My favorite movie of that year.
Yes, fantastic movie. So, and a base thing of knowledge that you need to know going into this is that animation is traditionally done at 24 frames per second. Okay. And so what they did, and I thought this was really interesting, for Miles Morales in Into the Spider-Verse, for the first part of the movie, they animated him 12 frames per second. And what that did was that made him seem jerkier and not as fluid. And then as he learned how to be Spider-Man, and everything else in the movie is 24 frames per second, except Miles Morales. And when he meets the Spider-Man from the other universe, he's at 24 frames per second. But Miles is still like this jerky, not as smooth. So it's a subconscious cue. But as he gets better at it, his frames get more until when he fully embraces it, he's at 24 frames per second.
Right.
I thought that was genius. I thought that was like a genius way to handle that.
It is. Also, they talked about how they animated on the twos.
Yeah. It's essentially
yes. But all that to say, it is a brilliant idea. It's a brilliant concept, and also it's one of those things where it just goes to show you how much time and effort they really put into building the entire world, building the entire character, and just how it's little, like you said, it's little subtle things that mean a lot. And and it played so well. I mean, you and I have been around. There's certain things that we can talk about as far as nerd culture that everyone is kind of ubiquitously agrees on. Like, for example, I know you haven't seen it yet, but Avatar: The Last Airbender, the show, everyone agrees the show is great. It is how it is. Everyone also agrees that the movie's terrible. It is how it is. Everyone agrees that Spider-Man Into Spider-Verse is just an amazing, great movie. It is what it is, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And to just throw in, because you mentioned on the twos, and I realized we really didn't explain all that much. In animation, you have like I said, 24 frames per second, and if you animate at 24 frames per second, that's known as animating on ones, which means one frame per the 24. If you animate on twos, that's essentially animating 12 frames per second, because every 2 frames is the same frame. essentially.
Yeah, it's the same thing you said. I just said differently.
Yeah, yeah. It's just that's just insider animation lingo.
Way insider. Yeah.
And I learned that while I was reading my animation survival kit by, what the fuck is this guy's name? Richard Williams. I have to put it in the thing so that way it gets cleared. Anyway, so yeah, Richard Williams. This is the guy. He was an animator on Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and apparently that book is considered a very good, is an excellent book to learn animation. And actually, it's funny that you mentioned that, and we got into this discussion, and that I discovered this randomly, separate from this. I had just read about animating on 1s and 2s like 2 weeks ago. I had not heard of that before, despite being an animation nerd like I am. I had not heard of that. So it's interesting that you brought that up, because it was like, oh. But but the other,
so I hadn't heard of it until a couple of years ago when I was watching, because I watched everything I could on Spider-Man: The Spider-Verse. I was so, I saw it with you, I think twice, because I was such a hardcore fan of that movie. And I saw it with Ari also. Personally, she's on the show, obviously, usually Ari. And I was so hardcore about it, and I was watching everything I could on it, reading everything I could on it, listening to podcasts about it, at least listen to commentaries, and they mentioned it over and over again how they animated on the 2s and what it meant and what they did for Miles and all kind of stuff with that. So I didn't know about it before this movie. To be honest.
Well, I found out in addition to that, and this was the whole reason why this came up on the podcast I was listening to, because the podcast is called Core. It's by the Frog Pants Network, Scott Johnson, and I can't remember the name of his co-host, but they talk about video games. And the whole reason it came up is because they were talking about the Miles Morales Into the Spider-Verse suit in the game, in the Spider-Man game.
Yes.
Well, what they did was they animated that at the 12 frames per second, so that in a 60 FPS game, or 30 to 60 FPS game, depending on what machine you're dealing with. And it's supposed to make it look really cool. And like some people were complaining about it, and it's like, just
what are you doing? Yeah,
you're fine.
It looked, because I'm sure if you saw the trailer for it, but it looks just like, it's like, oh, I feel like I'm playing, the character from the movie. It feels very much like that. It feels just like that in the movie.
Yeah,
it's amazing. It's amazing. And that game comes out November 20th. I definitely plan on getting that. Hardcore plan on getting that. I was going to get Cyberpunk 2077. I'm not sure if you're getting that game yourself, Nate. You do have 2 kids and a wife. And
eventually.
It's a lot of time. But because that game got pushed back to December 10th, I'm going to go ahead and just bring and get Miles Morales Spider-Man on the 20th instead. If I don't show for the podcast, I'm not dead. I'm still alive. It's because I'm playing a video game nonstop.
Yes. I really want to get that game, but I want to wait till I can get the PS5. And so I'm, gonna wait and see. And also I had another thing thrown at me where it's like, you because I've decided I'm going to wait for the PS5. I'm going to wait until it's a little bit easier to get. And it's not, because I don't want to try to, hop in a queue and get, try to see if I can get it on day one. No. I'm just going to wait until it becomes more readily available. Gives me a little bit more time to save up, and maybe save up a little bit more for games. And what helped me with that decision was I just received an email the other day. I forgot when I built this computer that I built so that way we can do all this streaminess. One of the parts that we got for it gave me a free copy of Assassin's Creed Valhalla. So
shit.
Yeah, so I'm going to
at the store you bought it from, or
no? It was the AMD chip. They were running a special that if you got the chip during a certain time frame, you would get a free game. And thankfully, I just missed it. There was another game that they would have given me, and I think it was like, oh geez,
Funko Land starring Dizzy Face.
It was something like Tom. I think it was like a Tom Clancy game or something. And I'm Rainbow Six maybe.
Yeah, Rainbow Six is good, but they can be yeah.
I'm like, I am not like, and those games, they have a place. They are extremely popular. Sure. They're some of the most popular games in the world. Yeah. I OD'd on them when I was in my early 20s. I played them constantly. And I just got to a point where I'm like, I can't play them. I tried getting into them and playing them, and I just couldn't do it. But
they're built for college. They're built for college students that refuse to get up and go to the bathroom. So,
yeah, and that was me. But the thing is that I missed it by like a day, thankfully, and I got in on the Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and I was like,
well played.
Yes!
Sir.
So
Well
I'm getting
yeah.
that. So I will be playing that, and I'm excited about that because I like me some. I'm in the middle of God of War still. I will eventually
really
beat that game.
That is astounding.
I've got like 1 or 2 play sessions a week. I'm at the point we just finished the Tears Vault, and we're leaving Tears Vault. We're about to go to Jotunheim.
Yeah.
So
okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh,
to put it in terms of people who may not know where they are in the game, whatnot. If this was the never-ending story, our text just died.
Wow. I'm earlier than I thought I was. Because let me tell, and it makes sense though, because let me tell you, one of the best gaming experiences of my life was in God of War. And it just happened a couple weeks ago. Yes, okay. This one. Because I was not aware that you got the Blades of Chaos. No. I thought that you just had that axe. Like I thought they were like, oh, you're in.
I mean, spoilers, but it's a game that's already.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's been out for a while.
You're the last one. You're the last one. Didn't know.
Yeah, I'm the last one. So no spoilers for me. But I thought you just had the frozen axe, and that was it. Like I thought it was like, oh, you're in Viking land. That's you now have a weapon of ice instead of fire. And so when you go to Helheim and you go to get and they're like your axe won't work there. And he looks at his forearms and says, I think I have something. And I went,
that's when so as soon as he said, I think I have, he looked at his forearms and said, I think I have something. You knew right then. Okay. I know.
I knew right then. And I went, oh my God. Because to be completely honest, while I would hear people talk about how great the gameplay was, and the gameplay's okay with the axe. Like I think the gameplay is nice. Like I like the ability to throw and like have kind of like the Thor hammer thing happen.
Yeah, I think that's cool. Very Mjolnir.
But it felt clunky to me. It still felt, it was a little clunky. It wasn't perfect.
It's meant to be almost stiff because the chains of Olympus,
Oh, the Blades of Chaos, man.
Blades of Chaos.
Oh, man, when he, he gets him in there and they're doing the whole buildup of him wrapping the chains, and I'm like, oh God. And then when I walked out and Mimir on his ass goes, let's see what those blades can do. I went, oh, and I just started playing, and I was like, for like 20 minutes, I had a smile ear to ear, just like fucking up ice creatures. Oh God, it was amazing.
Well, the best part was, so 2 things. One, when they were doing all the reviews and stuff about the game, back when it first came out, no one mentioned that spoiler about the chicken. The ones we just mentioned.
Yeah.
No one else mentioned it. So no gamer knew. So every gamer had the same experience of like, oh my gosh. And it was like a fun, thing. And you're right. It is great. Also, it's great to see how fluid it is because you've been using the axe and you feel so different with it. It feels like, getting back on the old bike again, kind of going out with it. And the other thing is, my favorite part in that game was right around that same time, but right before that, before he walks out, when he's inside the house, and Athena says to him, like, you are a monster and you'll always be a monster. And in the voice acting, because it's a new voice actor for this game as opposed to the first 3, or in I guess the handheld games too. This is because that was I can't remember his name now. I'll start with a T. The guy from Living Single. He is a new voice actor. It's a guy that's from the Stargate shows that's doing this. And it's a part where she says, "You're a monster. You'll always be a monster." And he says, the way he says, "I know." It seems so vulnerable and broken as far as like him admitting the idea that he is a horrible monster kind of thing. But then he says, "But I am your monster no more." And then tightens the chains and goes out there. It's like, it's like the greatest. It's like the most cathartic. Yeah. So that was that moment there. As far as that voice acting has got me.
Yeah. That scene was phenomenal. And I I love Mimir. I love Mimir
Of
hanging
course.
on his back, bouncing against his right ass cheek.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just and the fact that he's like Athena, like what the and like
You are Lucy. Yeah.
and I particularly loved it later when finally when Kratos admits to the boy, again, spoilers, everybody, God of War, um, that he's a god, basically says, I'm a god, you're a god, and when they're in Tyr's vault and they're going down and the boy's yeah, we're gods. We don't deal with like little mini people.
Yeah.
And Mimir's like, you're just gonna let that go, are you?
Right. It's like, you know where this is going. We know where this is going.
Yeah, you're just gonna let him. Okay, you're gonna let him be a little shit, I guess. But
yeah, Mimir is perfect. He's been perfect.
Oh, he's amazing, and I really liked the fact that they didn't drag that out. I really liked how they didn't drag out him keeping the fact that he's a god and that the boy's a god too from him. I'm really glad they didn't drag that out very long. I thought it was very interesting.
It was, I think, the year it came out. Yeah, so when I talked to you about this before I moved out to California, we used to do the shows together in person, and we first started talking about God of War. I told you in one of our conversations how it was maybe the best movie I'd seen like in several months, because it is the actual narrative, the story, the characters, the voice acting, the visuals. Essentially, it is a cinematic experience. It really is. There's no. I mean, of course, it is I'm not so hoity-toity. I know it's a game, of course, but it's a game that's, regardless of how you want to digest it or break it apart, it is in fact a narrative experience too.
Yeah,
and it's very well done.
And what shocks me is how, like, compared to the old games, the narrative and how good it is, and how mature it is. And I don't mean mature like it was back then, which was ease and death. Now it's like, no, this is a mature, in-depth, like very interesting, intricate plot that is fascinating, and it's not like the old games. It's just, but it pays homage to the old games, it's homage to the good parts of the old games in terms of like the gameplay. Like I honestly think the gameplay in the original God of War and God of War 2 is some of the most fluid, best gameplay that I think I've had. It's in my top 5 at least in all of gaming.
It's very popular,
and it's actually part of the reason why I still playing God of War is because since there's a good, even if you play it solid, it's a couple hours between the beginning of the game and getting Blades of Chaos. Maybe even more. Maybe it's more like 5 hours of gameplay before you get Blades of Chaos.
Yeah, good time.
Because there's that much time. That was part of the reason why I put it down, because I was like, I missed the Blades of Chaos. I want to play the Blades of Chaos. And because I didn't know that they were coming, I didn't keep going. But then I got it, and it was an amazing experience, and it was like, so anyways, God of War, play it. It's amazing.
Yes, after all those spoilers and everything else, and I completely agree. And there's so much more you have to look forward to. I said that you were at the part of our tax. You're around the midway point. That's more. But you're going to see some amazing things. The game only gets better and better. I'm sure you saw the trailer for the upcoming sequel. Okay, so now I've actually I haven't seen the trailer. Okay, I did that on purpose because I don't spoiler.
I don't want to know. I don't want to know what happens because I know. So that's my goal. I'm actually going to try to see if I can beat this game before. I'd really like to try to beat it before I start playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla, but we all know that's not going to happen.
Have we met you? Have we met you?
Oh yes. But I'm going to try. I've been digging into the game a little bit more than I have before. So we'll see. Yeah. We'll get there. I'll get there eventually.
It'll be a good time. Yes. I'm glad you're playing it. I'm glad you're digging it. It's a great game. I beat it all the way through twice because it was just so much. I just enjoyed it so much. And I didn't play God of War 1 or 2. I saw my brother Quorum, he played it, but I did play 3. And you're right, the experience, it feels like those are more almost arcade kind of in the best way, kind of arcade kind of games that kind of just make you visceral and hard hitting fast. And I like how the idea that it took several years between 3 and then 4, essentially what they call 4, basically.
Yeah.
And how Kratos is aged. He has the beard. In a way, it's the same way the game developers themselves, because they're all by the same studio. How the game has matured essentially with the gamers and with the developers saying like, this is the new style as far as it's meant to be a much more kind of mature experience than it was before. So it makes sense.
Yeah, it's just I think it's a real achievement, and I'm really pleased with it. I think it's amazing. So so y'all should play that if you haven't already. There's more stuff I haven't spoiled, but
no, there's nothing more. I think I got game. Yeah, I got game of the year. It was like that, Red Dead Redemption 2 and Spider-Man. But I think that beat them. Yeah, I believe. I had to go back and check, but yeah. All right.
Yeah, I'd be shocked, but anyway. So yeah, I've completely monopolized this whole thing. So yeah, is there anything you want to talk about before we completely wrap this thing up?
I'm good. Thanks again for joining us for this kind of a smaller episode. We just wanted to touch base, say hi. We know you guys have, no matter who you are or where you are, what side of the line you might fall on. We've all had a long couple weeks. We've had a long year, as it was. And so if you have stuck with us through all this, if you have stuck with the world through all of this, thank you. And just know that you are not alone. You can always come here to us. We are happy to have you. We are happy that you are safe, hopefully, and we're grateful. We're very grateful.
Yes, very grateful for all of you. And yeah, it's been a rough couple weeks, but we hopefully have some brighter days a coming.
Sure. Yeah.
Yay. Okay, so thank you all for joining us today. We appreciate it. And anything are you about to go off again?
No, I thought I heard Edward Furlong running in here. But
it's a Terminator behind you. Anyway, so
that happened before in the show where an assassin came in my room.
Yeah, it was on Halloween, or it was right on Halloween.
It was on the Halloween episode.
Yeah. Oh, geez. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.
At Geek Insider, we foster relationships with those in the geek sphere so we can give our audience the insider view of entertainment, tech, and more.